Welcome, everybody. Best of Us Investors, another session. Today's session is going to be on the basics of options, the very, very basics, just so you can understand what a call and a put are. And then we're going to go into a very simple strategy called the wheel strategy. In my opinion, this is one of the strongest um, strategies for someone who's long on a stock. If you want to become a long time investor in a stock, there is no better strategy, in my opinion, than this strategy. Now, this is from a basic fundamental level. Of course, there are more advanced things that you can do, but we're not going to talk about that. So let's get right into it. So let's talk about options first so you can understand what an option is. All right. Stocks have options, and those options are calls or puts. A call is the right, but not the obligation to buy a stock at the strike price by the expiration date. I'm going to define strike price here in a second, but I want you. Oh, and by the way, yes, this is being recorded, and yes, you'll be able to view it later. However, I'm a big fan of writing stuff down because there's something special about writing something down, taking notes, and then it just you, that information stays with you. It's powerful. It's a powerful tool. So I do recommend taking notes. I don't have any handouts. This will be recorded and you can see it later, but I do recommend that you take notes. And then you can, of course, come later. You can watch this again. All right. So a call option, it is the right, but not the obligation to buy a certain stock at a certain price by a certain date. Okay, so I'll give you an example. Let's say XYZ stock is $10 a share right now. And you think XYZ stock is going to go up. So you buy a call option of XYZ stock with a strike price of $10. That means that you want the right, but not the obligation, meaning you don't have to do it, to buy XYZ stock at $10. And you buy it to expire 1 month from now, 30 days. So you bought that option, that call option, you paid, let's say, $2 a share. So you paid $2 a share. You bought one contract. One contract is 100 shares. Write that down. One contract is equal to 100 shares of the stock. So if XYZ stock price is $10 and you bought a call option to buy XYZ stock at $10 that expires 1 month from now, that will cost you $2 per share. $2 times 100 is $200. Okay, I hope that came out clear. What I'm saying is you need to purchase right then and there, you need $200 to purchase that contract. Think about it as a coupon. You're paying $2 per share to buy that option to buy XYZ at $10 1 month from now. Now you might be saying, well, Gabe, why do I want to do this when I can just buy it right now for $10 a share? Right. It costs you $2. For whatever reason, you think XYZ stock is going to be $15 a share in a month. So you have a couple options. Normal people have a couple options. They can either buy XYZ stock at $10 right now, and if they bought 100 shares of XYZ stock at $10, then that'll cost them $1,000. 10 times 100 equals 1,000. Right? Yeah. Make sure my math. 10 times 100 equals 1,000. So if you wanted to buy 100 shares of XYZ, just flat out today, if it was $10, it would cost you $1,000. However, if you bought a call option for XYZ stock today, and it costs $2 a share, it would only cost you $200 to control 100 shares of XYZ stock. Now, you buy a call option when you think XYZ stock is going to be worth more before the expiration date. So we just said the expiration date is in 30 days. You think, for whatever reason, XYZ stock is going to be $15. So you are buying this call option of XYZ stock for $2 a share or $200 a contract, because in a month from now, when it's worth $15, you have the right, but not the obligation, meaning you don't have to exercise that option and buy 100 shares of XYZ stock for $10 when it is the current price 1 month from now is $15. So a call option is a bullish statement. When you buy a call option, it's because you think the underlying stock is going to be worth more than it is today. That's why you buy a call option. A put option is the opposite. A put option, when you buy a put option, is you are thinking the underlying stock is going to be worth less than today. What it really means is a put option is the right, but not the obligation to sell 100 shares at the price. So you don't have to own shares to sell a put option, because I just told you that a put option was the right, but not the obligation to sell. I'll explain. If XYZ stock is $10 and you think in 1 month XYZ stock is going to be worth $7, okay? Right now it's $10. You think in a month it's going to be worth $7. And you want to say, well, how do I make money on this? Because I don't want to buy XYZ stock because I think it's going down, but I still want to capitalize on the fact that I think XYZ stock is going to go down. So when you buy a put option, you have the right. I'm not answering questions right now, everybody. Questions will be later. Wing beat. I'm easily thrown off, so please don't ask questions. Okay, so you have the right, but not the obligation to sell at the current strike price. So I'll give you an example. So if XYZ stock is $10 a share and you buy a put option because you think in 30 days it's going to be $7 a share, that put option costs you $1 per share. $1 times 100, because there's 100 shares in one contract, is $100. So it costs you $100 to buy a $10 put on XYZ. And the reason you bought a $10 put is because you want the right, but not the obligation, to sell shares of XYZ at $10. And because in a month you think they're going to be $7. So you get to sell them for 10, even though they're 7. And a call is the opposite. You get to buy them for 10, even though they're 15. Call option, put option. If you think it's going down, you buy. Remember I said that. You buy a put option. If you think it's going up, you buy a call option. You buy a call option, you buy a put option, depending on what you think it is. Okay? That price that you paid for that option, or we called it in an analogy earlier, we called it a coupon. It's like you're buying a coupon. You're buying a thing, a piece of paper in your mind. You're buying a piece of paper that gives you the right, but not the obligation to exercise it. Meaning, I want to buy XYZ stock, 100 shares at $10 because I have this coupon when the actual price is 15 right now in a month from now. When would you not exercise your call option? Well, if you paid $2 for the call option to buy XYZ at $10, and then 1 month from now, it's $9, you were wrong. It didn't go up, it went down. So why would you exercise your call option? You wouldn't. You wouldn't exercise your call option, because why exercise it and pay $10 when you can buy it at the market price for $9? I hope that makes sense. Okay, so options have expiration dates. They can expire a week from now, a month from now, a year from now. When they expire is whatever Friday that you pick it to expires. Most stocks have an option for every Friday, depending on the stock. You can also, the strike price which means I want you to understand what strike price is. Strike price is basically the price that you're doing business at. If XYZ stock is $10 right now and you want the right, but not the obligation to buy XYZ stock in the future at $10, then you're buying a $10 strike price. Now, you could also buy an $11 strike price, which will be cheaper to purchase than your $10 strike price. However, now you need the stock. Now you need the stock to go up to at least $11 before you can exercise it. So there's lots of variables, but we're not going to get into that because that's advanced kind of talk. This first portion of this session is for you to understand what a call and a put is, because the main conversation that we're going to talk about is something called the wheel strategy. And that is something that you are going to utilize as an investor of the company that you love on how to not only make more money and get more shares, but it's kind of like paying yourself a dividend all the time. And explain. Okay, so if you have any questions on that, hold it until the end. Write down your questions, and we'll talk about them at the end. I promise. So now I'm going to go into the wheel strategy. Okay, and I've done this with Tesla lots and lots and lots of times. So the wheel strategy is like this. The way that most people begin the wheel strategy is by buying the shares. So we're going to use Tesla as an example, okay? Let's say Tesla is, for ease of math, $400 a share, right? $400 a share. In order to sell, we'll get that in a second, but in order to write or sell a covered call, I'm going to explain what a covered call is in a second, you have to first be able to buy 100 shares of Tesla. If it costs $400 a share, so that means that you need $40,000 in cash. You need $40,000 in cash in your account to buy 100 shares of Tesla if they were $400. So let's say you have $40,000 and let's say you buy 100 shares of Tesla. Now you have 100 shares of Tesla in your account and you paid $40,000 for that. Okay, your cost basis is $400 a share. Your cost basis is $400 a share because that's what you paid for Tesla, right? Okay, so now you want to start the wheel strategy. So earlier when I was explaining to you what an option is, I was telling you on the premise of buying a call because you think the price is going to go up, or buying a put because you think the price is going to go down. Now, you are no longer the person buying the coupon, like the analogy I made earlier. You're not buying the coupon. Now, you own the shares. So now, when you sell a covered call, you are the person selling the coupon. Now, just bear with me. Your cost basis was $400 a share. Okay? If you wanted to sell a covered call on Tesla that expires 1 month from today, okay, and I know this because I did it yesterday, you would get roughly $30 per share. Roughly. We're going to say 30 for ease of math. Okay, $30 per share. 30 times 100 is $3,000. Okay, and that's if you sell a covered call at $450. You bought it at $400 and you are selling the right, but not the obligation, to someone else to buy your shares for $450. They are going to pay you a premium of $30 per share to do this. And the reason they're going to do this, I mean, there's a myriad of reasons, but the main reason is that they think Tesla is going to shoot up way past 450 plus whatever they paid. And they think they're going to make money on Tesla in a month because it's going to shoot up, right? There's a myriad of reasons why people buy options. Do not over convolute yourself thinking about why is anybody going to buy this? It makes no sense. People do crazy things. Don't worry about it. All you need to know is what your strategy is. So you bought Tesla at $400. Stop. I'm getting the Zoom thingy. You bought Tesla at $400. Okay. You are writing/selling a call to someone else for a strike price at 450. Okay. For selling them this right, but not the obligation, they're going to pay you $30 a share. They're going to pay you $3,000. I am not kidding. They're going to pay you $3,000 for the right to do this. Okay. So boom, they give you the $3,000. You give them the coupon. You give them the option, the call option, the covered call, because you own 100 shares of Tesla. Now a month passes, and there's a couple things that can happen. First thing that can happen is Tesla closes at $449, meaning the option that you sold has expired. The expiration date came and went, and Tesla was under 450. If it's under the strike price that you sold, the coupon expiration date that you sold, then that option, that coupon, expires worthless, meaning no one can take your shares from you and pay you $450, because it doesn't make sense that they're going to pay you $450 a share when it's at $449. So 100% of the time, it'll expire worthless if it doesn't meet that strike price. And if it does, let's say they do exercise it, well, then they're stupid for doing that, because they can buy 100 shares at market for $449. So get that out of your mind. That's not ever going to happen. So a month comes, Tesla closes at $449. Your call option expired worthless, but from day one, you always get to keep that $3,000. Now let's back up to day one again. This is if you're long on a company, you love the company, as I do Tesla. So you bought it at 400, you sold a covered call at 450. Okay? You got $3,000 instantly. Instantly, you got $3,000. That $3,000 is yours to keep forever. No one can ever take that away from you. What should you do with that $3,000? Well, in the wheel strategy, there's a lot of things that you can do. You can take out that money to spend it. You can work on your house. You can do whatever you want. But as far as investing is concerned, this is what I suggest you do. If you own 100 shares of Tesla that you bought at $400, and then the second you bought it, you sold a 450 call option, a covered call, and you got $3,000 for that covered call, then you take those $3,000 and you buy more shares of Tesla. So 400, I suck at math. Let me see. 400 divided by, 3,000. 3,000 divided by 400 equals 7.5. So you can buy 7 shares of Tesla right that second. So now you own 107 shares of Tesla that you paid $400 for. Okay? Now remember that. You have 107 shares of Tesla. A month passes. It closes at 449. It expires worthless, but now your shares are worth 449. So now that option has expired worthless, you do it again, right? You do it again, and you sell another covered call, and that now you're going to get even more money because the share price changed, right? So let's say you get $4,000. Let's just say, okay. Now you sell the covered call, and with that $4,000, you buy more shares of Tesla, and then the goal is to just keep on adding shares of Tesla. So now let's answer the question. All right, Gabe, what happens if a month passes and Tesla closes at $470 a share? Well, what's going to happen is your shares will now be bought from you for $450. Remember, it's a win-win situation for you because you paid $400 and now you're selling them for $450. You're not getting $470 for them, but that's the risk that you take when selling covered calls. So it's not risk of losing money, it's just risk on possible profits. But in the long term, this strategy I promise you will make you far better off on most stocks. Now, of course, if a stock like Tesla, for instance, makes a parabolic rise from 800 to 2,500, then in the span of that 1 month, well then yeah, you missed out on a lot of money. But that's not the norm. That's not going to happen often. So you should take that thought out of your mind. You should think about what the norm is. Okay. So on something I want you to realize though, if you got $30 per share at selling that 450 covered call, you are really and let's say your shares get taken away because it closed at 470. Are you losing money? In actuality, you are not, because think about it. You paid 400. You had to sell your shares at 450. However, you got $30 per share. So that makes your actual sale price 480. So, in order for you to lose possible profit is it has to close over 480 for you to lose possible profits. Not lose money, because words have meaning, not lose money, but lose possible profits. However, if it closed at 470 and your shares got taken away from you, you actually made money, even more money than if they didn't get called away at all, because you sold them at 480 even though they're worth 470. So what you do is once your shares get called away, if you love Tesla, you use that money that you got, that big lump sum of money, and you buy 100 shares of Tesla again, and you do it all again. That's if you want to do only the covered call route. So now that I've explained covered call, I'm going to explain the put selling part. So earlier I told you what buying a put is. So your question might be, okay, Gabe, but when will I sell a put? Why do I sell a put or write a put, right? So there's a couple reasons that you can do this. You can do this. Actually, I'm not going to go into one of those reasons because it's advanced. I'm going to go into this on the fundamental reason on you want to own shares. You want to do the wheel strategy. Okay, the wheel strategy is selling covered calls and then selling puts. Once you get filled, you sell covered calls again. That's one way, or you can just buy the shares and sell covered calls. You don't have to sell puts. But now I'm going to talk about selling puts, okay? People sell puts to get a better entry into a stock. So let's say Tesla is $400 a share. I'm not going to change it up. I'm going to keep it the same. Let's say Tesla is $400 a share. And you love Tesla, you want to be into Tesla, but you don't want to pay $400 a share because you think in the near term it's going to drop down. So you want to get a better entry price. So you have a couple options. You can either write a limit order and be very stubborn and say, all right, I want a limit order for 100 shares at 390. And I don't want to buy them until they are 390 or better. And you can put a limit order into your broker and then you just wait. You just sit on your hands and wait until Tesla goes down to 390 and hope that you get filled. Or you can get paid to be patient. So here's how you get paid to be patient. If you think Tesla is going to go down to 390, you sell a cash secured put on Tesla for 390. 390 is a strike price, and the expiration is 1 month from now. Strike price, 1 month from now. The current share price is 400. You want it to come down to 390, and you want to sell this put that expires 1 month from now. This option, this coupon, right? Okay. So when you sell a put, someone is going to pay you for the right, but not the obligation to sell you 100 shares of Tesla at that strike price that you sold them. So if you think Tesla's going to go down to 390, you are going to write a 390 strike that expires in a month. That is going to pay you about $3,000. Let's just say, okay? I'm going to use that number again. Let's say $3,000. I don't know what it actually will be because we don't have the options in front of me, but let's say it's going to be $3,000. So you're getting $30 per share for something that expires in a month for someone to sell you Tesla shares at 390. Now, If you get filled, let's fast forward a month and let's say Tesla is now 385. So it's below your strike price. So you are going to get exercised on that put option that you sold. If you get filled at 485, but you got $30 per share, is that good or bad for you? I'll give you a second. That's good because you got $30 a share. If it's 485 and you have to buy it at 490, your cost basis is not 490. Your cost basis is actually 490 minus 30, which is 60, 460. Your cost basis is 460. Do you see how I got there? They gave you $30 per share to buy that option from you. They gave you $30, right? And then they exercised their option to sell you shares of Tesla at 490. However, they gave you $30. So you subtract $30 from 490, that's 460. Now your cost basis, the entry price at what you actually got into Tesla was 460. Do you see how it works? It's fucking magic. Oops, sorry for cursing. I'll try not to curse. It's magic. Okay, so that's the selling put route. So, okay, so now you own 100 shares of Tesla at the 460 cost basis. So now that you own the shares, what do? Well, you love Tesla and you want to hold them for a long term. So what you do is you sell covered calls on Tesla at a price in a month out or a week or 2 weeks or whatever you want. I recommend a month for this strategy, for a month out on where you think it's not going to be. If you say, okay, I own Tesla at 460, Tesla has a lot of things coming up, I'm going to sell a covered call for Tesla at excuse me, you own it at 360. I'm going to sell a covered call for Tesla at 470. That's almost $100 more than what you own, but you don't want your shares to go away. You want to be safe. So you're selling it way out of the money so that you can just get like free money, which is like a dividend. So no matter what happens with Tesla between now and that month, that money that you got is going to be yours. But let's say you sell it at 470. Remember, you bought it at 360 and it goes all the way up to 500. Okay. Well, did you lose out? The answer is no, because you got money for on premium on what you sold though that covered call for. You got the premium instantly. And then the strike price hit, which was 570, we just said. You bought it at 460. You made $110 per share by selling for your strike price, plus this free money that you got that first day for selling the coupon that we were talking about, the covered call, the option. Okay, so the wheel goes round and round, and that's why this is called the wheel strategy. So once you get exercise on your covered call, if that happens, now you have all that cash and you just sell a cash secured put. And I say cash secured put because you have the cash to secure the put that you're selling. Because remember, when you write a put or when you sell a put, you are the writer, you are the person giving the person the option, but not the obligation to sell you shares. When you are writing or selling a covered call, you are giving the person the right, but not the obligation to buy your shares. And that is why I went at the very beginning, I explained the basis of what a call option is and what a put is. Now, there's two aspects to that. At the beginning, I told you what it was if you were the buyer. If you were the buyer of these options, you are buying a coupon. If you are the writer or the seller of these options, you are the one giving this coupon. You are the one getting the premium instantly. If you are the buyer, you are the person giving the premium. Okay, so that's the basics, and it's called the wheel strategy because the wheel goes round and round. If you sell a covered call, boom, you're exercised. Now you use that cash that you have to sell cash secured puts and you get exercise. Boom, you get exercise. Now you have the shares. So now you sell covered calls. Boom, you get exercise. Now you sell a put. And it's just a wheel. It goes round and round and round. And the whole time you are making premium. Now, you could sell covered calls the entire time and never get exercise, but that entire time that you're selling covered calls, you're making like free money, like dividend kind of thing. That's how you need to look at it. This is a very, very, very powerful strategy. And if you love a company, oh, I need to say one more thing. I only recommend this strategy on great companies. That is the most important thing. If you've heard nothing else or don't really understand anything else, understand this. Only do this on great companies. Amazon, Google, Tesla, in my opinion, Microsoft, great companies. Activision is a good company. Um, Here, I'm going to give you an example on who not to do it with. All right. Don't do it on IPOs. Don't do it on companies whose 5 year chart is like this or this. Only do it on companies whose 5 year chart is up. And the reason you want to do it on great companies whose 5 year chart is up is because if you make sure you're in a great company, when you sell a put, right? When you write a put and it goes down, it goes way down, don't get discouraged. Understand that you're in a great company and eventually to go back up like Apple. I wrote puts, excuse me, I wrote puts on Apple at the beginning of September and they went way, way down. And now I'm still writing puts on Apple. I'm not going to get into that, but if I was doing this strategy, I would be selling covered calls still, not worried, not selling my Apple shares for a loss because I'm scared and fear that Apple is going to crash, because they're not. Great companies, for the most part, like nothing is 100%. But if you deal with only great companies, then the odds are that over time it's going to go up and you have nothing to worry about. Investing in great companies is the way to go. You don't want to do this on companies like Helion. You don't want to do this on companies like freaking Nikola, right? We not hindsight is 2020. We now know that they are crap, but a lot of people loved them not even a couple weeks ago. They're crap, speculative. You don't do it on things like that. You don't do it on IPOs. You don't do it on companies that haven't proven themselves. And when I say prove themselves, you got to look at the 5 year chart, okay? Don't remember that I said that. The 5 year chart, not the 1 year, the 5 year. If after 5 years their chart looks like this or something similar, they're good. If they look like this, no. If they look like this, hell no. Like this. That's it. All right. So now I'm going to open it up to questions. So go ahead and either ask it in the chat or unmute yourself and ask me a question on anything I've gone over, please. Okay, do you need to physically own the 100 shares first? So if you want to sell covered calls, the answer is yes. You do need to own the shares first. Okay? If you want to sell cash secured put, all you need is the cash to buy 100 shares at the strike price that you choose. So if Tesla is $400 a share and you want to buy them at $390, then you need $39,000 in cash to write or sell a $390 strike price put option for Tesla. I hope that answered your question. All right, the next question from Lolly. The question I get all the time is, if Apple is so low right now, and if I sell a covered call for 137, how would anybody buy it? Listen, Lolly, that question has a very easy answer. The answer is people buy call options for a myriad of reasons that we are not going to go over, for all types of prices. Do not convolute or confuse yourself with that because it makes no sense to you. I get it. However, great companies like Apple, like Tesla, have lots and lots of liquidity, meaning thousands of options, hundreds of thousands of options are sold every day. And there is a buyer and a seller for almost every single strike price. So do not worry or over worry about that fact. So, question from DC. So, in Tesla's example, I would need approximately 40K. Okay, thanks. Yes. Okay. What is the biggest downside of the wheel? Selling puts and then a 10% plus downturn seems like it could be a big deal. Okay. The biggest downside of the wheel, I'll start with selling covered calls. The only downside of the wheel of selling a covered call is if you bought Tesla at 400 and you sold a covered call for 450 and you got $30 per share, meaning your actual cost basis on what your actual sell price if you get exercised is 480. Get it? 450 plus the $30 premium you got for selling it the 450 strike. So that means you're actually selling it at 480 because your shares got sold at 450, but you got $30 previously. So you actually sold it at 480. However, let's say Tesla goes up to, let's just be crazy here. Let's say it goes up to $700, right? Well, you have to sell it at 450, which means you actually sold it at 480 and you lost out on from 480 to $700. You lost out on all that profit. But you got to ask yourself, remember, you got to mitigate risk. The risk is you could lose out on winning all this kind of money, and that is a greedy mindset. Long term is how you want to think. If you keep on thinking, well, I could lose, Tesla could go parabolic and I could lose all these profits, that is true. But if you think like that, you're not going to be making money in the short term, in the meantime, and then you're going to lose out on all these definite profits. Parabolic moves happen very, very rarely, and that's the risk you take. So selling covered calls, the biggest risk you take is a parabolic move that you risk out on not making as much money as you could have. Now, when you sell puts, like I did on Apple, perfect example, I sold puts. I'll tell you right now. Let me look at my brokerage. Okay, I sold Apple puts at the very beginning of September for $133.75 strike price because Apple was right above that strike price. So I sold at the money. And then we all know what happened. Apple went down. So now I'm forced to buy Apple at $133.75, even though Apple's all the way down here. But when you utilize this strategy, it's okay. You don't care. So I got filled at 133. I got, let's say, $5 per share. So my actual cost basis is 127, right? 133 minus $5 is 127. So what I do now that I have the shares down here that I paid all this up here for, I just sell covered calls for right above my cost basis, right? I got it 127, so I sell them for 128. That way, if it does do a parabolic move, I don't lose money because no matter what, I'm making money. Plus, I'm making premium this entire time. I've been making premium on Apple since the day I got filled. So I know Apple, sooner or later, is going to get back up to 133. So I'm not worried about it. But fear is a motherfucker, right? Fear will screw you. And people will say, oh, no, Apple's going down. I have to sell at a loss. No, you do this on great companies, and you know for a fact, unless the fundamentals change, I'll put that asterisk in there. If the fundamentals of the company that you're selling puts or covered calls on change, then you want to stop dealing with that company. They are no longer great in your eyes. But if the fundamentals don't change, if the stock market is just doing what stock market does, then you just keep on doing the wheel strategy, not worried about what the current price is, because you know sooner or later it's going to go back up. And while it's going back up, you're making that sweet, sweet premium. So there is no downside, in my opinion. There is none. The only there's the downside possibility is on covered calls, you make less money than you could have. The downside possibility on selling puts is the fear. But if you only deal on great companies, you'll never get scared out of your shares. I hope that answered your question. All right. So with a call option, are you paying a $2 a share call and then later $10 for a total of $12? All right. Patrizob, you're going to have to either unmute your mic and explain to me what you're saying or write your question a different way. I don't get it. So until you do that, I'm going to go to the next question. Okay, Raju said, I bought 500 PFE. Can I sell covered calls? Yes, you can. So you have 500 shares of PFE. So now you can sell 5 contracts of PFE. One contract is 100 shares. You have 500 of them. So you can sell 5 contracts at whatever strike price you want for PFE. Lolly, on covered calls, do you get more premium if the execution date is longer, say 30 days, 45 days, and longer? Yes, Lolly, great question. The answer is yes. The longer out your your expiration date, the more money the buyer has to pay you, because that is more risk on your end. You are taking on more risk by giving them, the buyer, more time for whatever they want to happen to come to fruition. So yes, you do get more money, more premium. Sonia, but if you don't exercise your call option, then you lose out on the premium. No, you never. If your covered call does not get exercised, you keep that premium. That premium, from the second that you sell it, that money is yours. Remember the example that I gave at the beginning. If you sell a covered call, what I suggest you do is that you buy more shares of that company that you love with that premium that you just got. So if you had 100 shares of Tesla and you bought in at $400, and then you sold the 450 strike price expiry covered call that expires in a month, and you got $30 for that, you got $3,000. So that allows you to buy 7 more shares of Tesla at the current price, which is $400. So now you have 107 shares. And you do that every time. You see how this just grows exponentially? You always use your premium to buy more shares. I mean, you don't have to buy more shares. You can do whatever you want with the money. You can cash it out. The money is yours. You never lose that money, no matter what happens. Okay, from Rudy. So you sell premium based on your cost basis, not your strike price. You will exercise that. So you sell premium based on your cost basis, not your all right, Rudy, I don't really understand the question. So when you sell a covered call, your cost basis is whatever you bought the shares at. So if I bought 100 shares of Tesla at $400, my cost basis is $400. However, if I sell a covered call at 450, if I sell a covered call at 450 and it gets exercised, let's say Tesla is 470. It gets this current stock price is 470, so my covered call gets exercised, meaning I have to sell them shares at 450. Did I sell it at 450, or did I sell it at another price? Well, the answer is you actually sold it at 480, because the strike price is 450 plus the 30, 1, 2, 3, the $30 you got per share, which equals to $3,000 per contract. So you actually sold it at 480. 480 is what you actually sold the shares at, if that makes any sense. All right. Premiums are paid one time only, right? It's not reoccurring. Correct. Premiums are paid right when you buy the coupon. When you go to a store or whatever and you buy a coupon, let's say you don't get the coupon free. Let's say you buy a coupon. If you buy a coupon, you're buying that coupon that one time, and it has an expiration date. And if you don't use it by that expiration date, then it expires worthless, and you have to buy another one. So yes, only one time. How are the call put prices options determined? Are these always for 100 shares? Thanks. Okay, so one contract will always be equal to 100 shares. You have to understand that one contract is always equal to 100 shares. Now, the way the prices are, the current prices, because they fluctuate depending on the price and how much time is left to expiration, that is an advanced topic, but I'll let you Google it and research it yourself. That's based on the thetas and the volatility index of that current stock. But the quick answer is it changes, and it's based on a lot of things like time decay, the delta. These are called the Greeks. So Google the Greeks. It's based on time decay, the theta, which is also time decay. Then you got delta. Then you got the volatility of the underlying stock, and a couple different things. So that's advanced knowledge. For basic investors, you don't care about these things. I mean, you care about them, but don't over confuse yourself. Get into a company that you love, Amazon, Google, whatever, Facebook, Tesla, and start utilizing this strategy to making that money. Don't worry about the Greeks, or don't worry about the minutia of understanding everything. Just understand that you love the company, you got the shares, you're going to sell a covered call at this price. Understand that if they get exercised, you can either buy them at the current price with the cash that you now have, or you can sell cash secured puts to get in at a better price. Whatever you want. You might not get in at your cash secured puts, but no matter what, you'll keep that premium, and you can keep on selling cash secured puts until either you meet that price that you wanted to get in at, or you never do, but at least you collect the premium every time you sell a cash secure put. Every time. All right. How are the call? Oh, I read that already. All right. Lolly, my brokerage told me this. Let's say my strike price for Apple is 137 and the execution date is November 10th. Now on October 25th, Apple is 137, but you were under contract with the buyer until November 10th. In this situation, to get out of the contract and sell on October 5th, you need to pay some money to exit the contract. Yes. Okay. Listen, that's why I said whenever you sell a covered call, you're under contract by that expiration date. Okay. And now let's say Apple goes really high and now you're like, oh, well, I don't want to sell Apple. Listen, that's a great question. I'm going to answer it this way. Do not worry about ever buying back your covered call, because if you buy it back, now you're going to have to pay money and you're going to lose money. And that's not how this strategy works. When you write a covered call, you stick to it. You stick to it to the very end, no matter what the price is of the underlying stock. Okay. Once it expires, if you got exercise because it's above your strike price, you buy shares or you sell cash secured puts. You buy shares at the current price and then sell another covered call, or you sell a put, a cash secured put, and get premium that way. But buy back your covered calls. Not for this strategy. I don't recommend it ever. Once you make up your mind on what you want to sell a covered call at what strike price by what expiration date, you let it run out. I hope that answered your question. For beginner, how do I start? What app do I use? So your brokerage. First off, any brokerage will allow any level of options trader to sell cash secured puts or covered calls. All you have to do is apply for the right to do that. So if it's on you can do it on Robinhood, you can do it on TD Ameritrade. Any broker will allow you to sell cash secured puts or covered calls. You just have to apply through your broker. DC, if you own 200 shares of Tesla, can you sell a covered call for one contract at 450 and then do the other contract for say 460? Yes, DC. If you sell 200 shares, you can sell one contract at any price you want and another contract at any price you want. Yes. Lasso, can you do a covered call with minus 100 shares from being wrong on an option trade? Well, that's not a covered call. If you don't have 100 shares of something, that's not a covered call. That means that you are short 100 shares. And that's not what we are talking about. We're talking about the wheel strategy, and it's either owning 100 shares of the underlying stock or selling puts to own 100 shares of the underlying stock. That's it. Andy, hi Gabe, here's my case. I bought MO at $39 cost basis back in September. I forced trade on covered call MO at $40 on October 23rd, but now price jumped to $40.50. If I don't want to lose my share on October 23rd, what is the best way to do it? Well, as I described earlier, once you sell a covered call, you should just let it follow through. And once you either get exercise or your option expires worthless, then you sell another covered call. But in my opinion, it is not good practice to buy back covered calls because you're going to lose money that way. From Nabila Khan, with selling put, if you want to exit early in a profit, you should be looking for the premium price to be less than you bought it. Correct. Absolutely. So if you sell a put and you want to buy it back, then let's say you sell a put and you got $5 premium. And then in 2 days, that same put with the same expiration date, the one that you have, cost $1 to buy back, and you want to take the profits, then yeah, you buy it back for $1. And now you got $4 profit. So that's 80 to 4, 6, 8, 10. Yeah, that's an 80% profit on the premium. You didn't get to keep all the premium because you bought it back for some of it, but you got to keep 80% of the premium. So yes, in that case, not in all cases, in that case. Okay, well, everybody, are there any more questions? That was the last of the questions. You can go ahead and unmute your mics or put it in the chat box. Are there any more questions on this whatsoever? Okay. Well, if there are no more questions, that concludes this session of the Best of Us Investors group. This is a great group. I hope you guys learned something. You can always ask me any questions in the group if you have any other questions in the future. I hope this was informative. I hope that this makes you to do some more research on this because it might have been a little bit too much, but at least maybe it opened your mind and let you see the possibilities. Good luck, everyone. I hope you make lots of money. And this concludes our session. Thanks.